Hello and welcome to It's Time for Yarn. Today I'm going to share some things that I found at Dollar Tree and Hobby Lobby that at first glance might not seem like they would be yarny things, but have been surprisingly helpful. Stay tuned. Now first up, I'm going to begin with the things I found at Dollar Tree. Obviously, I found some Premier Just Chenille yarn in a super bulky 6, which is my favorite size yarn. And I got this to make scrunchies. I have my blue ones on here. And I also found the hair ties there. They do have the Goody brand, and I ran out of those, so I just had these that I had to go along with it. So putting these together makes a quick, easy, fun little thing to do. This is really great for children who are just starting out learning how to crochet, to have some kind of like quick turnaround for their project, something satisfying to make, something they can use right away, or something giveaway to friends. So obviously found some yarn, found some hair ties that at first glance you wouldn't think would be a yarny thing, but together with this chenille yarn make great scrunchies. So that's my first thing at Dollar Tree. Next, it's back to school time right now, so they have these little tiny backpacks which are really great for like preschoolers, to put just like an extra pair of clothes, maybe a little blanket or a stuffed animal for your little preschooler. But for me, I like to use these to contain my projects. So if I open this up, you'll see I have my chenille yarn and some scrunchies that I've already made, and in this front little pocket is where I keep the elastics so they don't get lost in the bottom of that bag, and I actually keep my hook in there as well. This is a really great travel bag for my project, for this just little projects. Now I usually make blankets, but when I was making these just because I wanted to, just because it was fun and quick and easy, I would carry it around in these bags. Anytime I was in the car with my husband, I had this little bag with me and used it to contain my projects. I got this one with peaches on it. They do have some with other designs, and they have some that are just plain colors, but I thought this one was adorable. So $1.25, I'm like, okay, I can do that. So project bag. Next, I found this tea light holder. Now, I saw it and I almost didn't pick it up because I'm like, I don't really put tea lights around, and it does look like yarn, a little ball of yarn, and it's super adorable and all of that, but what am I going to use it for? But me, being the crazy person that I am, couldn't resist, so I picked it up anyway, and surprisingly, it has been very helpful with holding my stitch markers. I recently did a project, let me grab it. Okay, I recently did a project for Pink Sheep Design where I'm testing out her Nancy Bralette, and I needed to use stitch markers in certain areas. Now, I don't usually use stitch markers with my blankets. They're pretty straightforward, but in this case I needed to use them to mark how many rows I had and take them out and all that. So it was really convenient to have this little cup to put a few stitch markers in it, have it sitting next to me, and I'd just reach in and grab one, and when I needed to remove it, I would just put it in there for the next time I needed one. And it turned out really great as a little cup for stitch markers, and the fact that it's shallow made them easy to grab. I didn't have to dig around in there, and didn't have to dump it out to try to get them out. They were just right there, and it was super cute. I felt all fancy with my cute little yarn bowl, tea light holder holding my stitch markers, you know. So I picked it up anyway, and I'm really glad I did. The last thing from Dollar Tree is actually kind of a dupe for something that I saw at Hobby Lobby. My mother is really into puzzles. She loves to do puzzles. The bigger the better. She likes at least 1,000 pieces, and she makes these beautiful puzzles. She puts them together, and then she'll like pass them on to friends of hers that also like to do puzzles. But in Hobby Lobby, while we were in there, I made her come into Hobby Lobby with me to look at their clearance, and I'm looking at yarn and she's looking around at everything else, and she found a puzzle that was a yarn scape, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful yarns, and she's like, oh, Erica, you can put this together and put it in a frame and hang it up to, you know, in your yarn room. And I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea, Mom, that'd be beautiful. But it was $10, and I was like, hold the phone. I would rather spend that $10 on this clearance yarn. So it's okay for now. Maybe I'll come back for it later. But then when I was looking around Dollar Tree, I found this. And I was like, what? $1.25? Oh yeah, I'm gonna turn it around. The whole picture looks like this. These are all the colors that I love. and I just fell in love with it. For $1.25, it is a beautiful dupe for the Hobby Lobby puzzle, and it's only 350 pieces, which is up my alley. Mom likes the big giant ones, but no thank you. I want to get it done, move along. So 350 pieces for me is just right. But I thought it was so beautiful, and $1.25 is way more reasonable than $10, especially when I'd rather spend that $10 on some yarn. So I'm excited to put this together and get this hung up just as a decoration, just because it's cute. And yeah, so I'm excited about that. Beautiful yarns in there. Kind of like, I want these yarns. Where can I find these? Okay, moving on to my Hobby Lobby items. I only have a couple. One of them is actually a planter. So it is this giant teacup. Now, I hauled a teacup from Hobby Lobby that was actually a yarn bowl, and you guys, like 2 days after I bought it, it fell and broke. Like, really broke. Like, could not be glued back together, broke. And I was so disappointed. So, you know, whatever. I don't usually use yarn bowls. I'm like, okay, fine. It broke. But then I saw this at Hobby Lobby, and I was like, oh, it's so cute though. I want it. And they were having their 66% off for their spring shop. So I think that's still going on. It might even be up to 75% at this point. I'm not sure. I've been staying away from Hobby Lobby, you know, trying to save the coins. But this, I took the sticker off already, but it was originally like closer to $20, and I only spent about $8 on it. I want to say it was like $23, but I spent about $8 on it. She took a little bit off because it has a, oh, right here, a black spot, like a, I don't know, a scuff or something. Don't know what that's from. It's not textured, so it seems like it's like ink on there. So I'm gonna try to find like a magic eraser and like see if I can get that to come off. But she actually took off a little bit extra because that had that on there, and I was like, you know, she asked me about it, and I was like, you know, it's already clearance, it's okay. And then she asked her boss who was standing there, and they took it off. So I was like, oh, well, thanks, appreciate it. So I actually used this recently when I was making that bralette. I used it to hold my Ogo yarn that I used to make the bralette. Because when, you know, this is Ogo, and it doesn't really like flop around and roll around or anything, but it was nice to be able to put it in my bowl, which with this cardboard on it, it doesn't fit very well. But when you take it out of the packaging, it fits in quite nicely. It was nice just to kind of keep it contained and kind of like just grab my little bowl and move to the living room if I wanted, or have this sitting next to me on the bed. It was really nice to just feel like I had my life together a little bit and had my stuff organized while I was working on it. So I'm really glad I picked this up. It is super cute. I love it. Last thing that I'm going to show you guys is this bin right here. It's rubbery. It's kind of flexible. It has a couple handles this way, a couple handles this way. The only thing I don't like about this is that it doesn't like cling to your hip. So you can't like one arm it with your hip. You have to like both handles or else it's gonna just fall. But I saw this, and it was originally, I believe, $14.99, but again, they're having their 66% off spring shop sale, so it was marked down to like $5, and I was like, this is a huge bin for $5. I'm like, okay, I can do that. And so I've just been using it as like a project holder for like my works in progress and things like that. And I actually went out of town with my mom and my husband this weekend, and I grabbed a couple of things to work on, and I put them in here, and I volunteered to ride in the back seat, so I'd have plenty of room for my crochet. And this was really good to kind of wedge behind the seat next to me, and it just kind of squeezed in there because it was rubber on the floorboard. And then I could just kind of have my yarn sitting in it and pull it out, and it was organized and contained while we were traveling. And so that was a surprising use for it. I got it really just to organize yarn here in my yarn closet, but I was really excited to use it for that. It worked great. For $5, I'm like, man, this is giant. I love it. So when you go into places like Dollar Tree, Hobby Lobby, in the non-Yarny area, or maybe even Home Goods or TJ Maxx, keep your eyes open for things that could be repurposed into fun Yarny things. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time, and remember guys, no matter what time it is, it's time for yarn.